Sinister Sisters podcast. I'm Felicia.
And I'm Lauren.
And we're best friends.
And we like scary movies.
It's true.
So today begins what hopefully will be
a full series.
We're talking about the Saw movies.
Spooky. Scary.
Today, Saw number 1, baby.
Saw number 1!
Wait, so we should say first, when did you see Saw for the first time?
Nice. So I actually saw the second Saw first.
Whoa.
And I think I saw it.
That's scandalous, honestly.
It was scandalous. And I'm pretty sure, what year was that? I think I saw
2004.
The second one?
Sorry. Nope.
It's
2005?
Like 6? My guess is 6.
Well, you're probably right.
I'm a very good guesser.
We are just
2005. I was almost a good guesser. I feel like I saw it in middle school. It was like one of those things where I don't know if I saw it at a sleepover, but I definitely saw it in a very sneaky way. Yeah. And I just remember specifically, I can never forget the needle pit, which we will talk about next episode. But that has always been burned into my brain. And I remember being fascinated by it because that was a time in which I was sort of just getting introduced to horror films, I guess. And I remember just being like, can it get crazier than this?
Yes.
And also assuming I was going to be in the biggest trouble of all time. But I didn't see the first one until probably sometime in high school, I would guess. Yeah.
I know. That's what I think I was in high school, but now I always thought it was my dad. I still think it was my dad the first time I saw it.
To show it to you?
Yeah.
Your family is so different than my family.
Yeah. My dad was I think, because I had a couple friends that we used to watch scary movies in high school. It was our horror movie club.
You already had a horror movie club.
She didn't know. This is the first I'm telling her.
It's before me. I didn't even exist.
It was 4 of us, and we watched a bunch of scary movies. Mostly during our lifeguarding shifts. I know.
Not watching the kiddies, are we?
No, we weren't. No, we watched a couple movies on rainy days at the pool, but then we would go to my house and watch them.
That's so nice.
I know. There's more I'll tell you offline.
Okay.
No, I'm just kidding.
Great.
There's nothing. But I think we watched, I don't know. I think my dad might have been watch it. But then my favorite memory is that this is similar to when my dad showed me Zombieland, but right after I got dumped in high school, my friend Zoe, I don't even know if she listens to this. I don't think she
Zoe,
would.
are you there?
But maybe. But she, after the breakup, brought I think a jar of Nutella or something sweet.
Oh,
and she brought Family Guy, Saw, and The Mask over.
It's which avenue will make you feel better? You need a full catharsis. You need to laugh. That is a good friend.
That's a great
impressive.
friend. And it also felt so clearly Lauren, these are Lauren's things. Which one are you in, watching someone
and
cut
any
their
of them
foot
go
off?
great with Nutella.
Exactly.
That's amazing.
So I always associate it with breakups, which is really weird.
Funny.
I know.
Also, I love The Mask.
The Mask.
So good.
We'll do an episode about that.
Cameron
No,
Diaz's
just
first role.
She's so hot in it.
She's so great. She auditioned to be a reporter, and then they made her the leading lady.
I never knew that.
No way, you didn't know that. Yeah, she was modeling, and they brought her, and she was like, I want to try acting. And so her agent was like, okay, we brought you in. It's a one-liner. She comes in, does the one-line audition. They were like, do you want to just audition for the lead?
Oh my God, I could scream. I never knew.
And she got it. She had never acted.
I'm
She's
obsessed
just
with that
that
story.
beautiful.
This is so unrelated, but I feel I felt that in my toes. In my soul. And also I felt it
so
when I was
good.
thinking about all the people that are cast as reporters. You don't have what it takes.
You don't know what it takes. Because if you did, you would be Cameron Diaz.
If you did, they'd bump you to the lead role. Anyway, we're going back to 2004.
Hilarious.
So, Saw was directed by James Wan. His directorial debut.
Beautiful. The cutie pie honey bun.
Also, anyone who's a struggling artist, you won't make it because James Wan, this was his directorial debut.
Yeah.
Tough luck. But it was written. I was already stressed. It was written by...
if you're a filmmaker, you can do it. Don't listen to Lauren. If you're an actor and you got a one-liner, don't listen to Lauren.
I love to crush dreams.
She does.
It's my favorite thing.
But I'm sorry, you were saying?
So it was written by Lee Wannell.
I think so. We literally just listened to it right before this.
I'm so nervous.
Because I think I said it wrong in My Invisible Man.
Winnell.
I think it's Winnell. Lee Winnell. I think that's right.
Lee Winnell.
Is that right? Are you listening? No.
Okay. Well, we'll never say his last name again. Okay.
Lee
wrote it. So it came... I liked this story. I actually think it's later in our notes, but it's okay. So James Wan basically proposed the idea to him that it was two men trapped in a room with a dead body on the ground, and they wake up in this room and they're trying to figure out why they are there, and Lee took that and ran with it. And so he actually wrote it, but the idea originally came from James Wan.
Nice.
So if you don't know the story, basically that is what it is. It's two men who wake up in a disgusting bathroom, and then one is being ordered to kill the other or his family will die.
Yes.
And he won't be able to escape also.
That was concise.
Thank you. And there's some other things.
There's a bunch of other things. We'll get to them.
But the screenplay was written in 2001, actually, so 3 years before that. But after...
Things take time.
Yeah, so they basically were trying to get it produced in Australia. They were raising some amount of money. I guess they raised something like $30,000 in Australia. But they couldn't get real money backing or producers behind it. So they decided they were going to shop it around Los Angeles. But...
Wait, did you finish the Boo Crew interview?
Yeah. Or that woman?
Yeah. Are you going to say that?
You can.
Because they basically said they didn't want to bring it to America because they thought it was, like, pointless.
Yeah.
And this seriously was like, I'm just going to go do it anyway, and shopped her around L.A., and then was like, get on a plane, you're coming here. Like, it was, like, a very, like...
I'm still not sure. Like, that makes sense to me, but then I'm like, but did they make the short before that?
I'm not sure.
So that's what we're not sure about. But, so they used $5,000 to make a short.
Yes. They picked their best scene.
One scene. Yeah. Which, like, I didn't watch the whole thing, but I watched, like, part of in this Saw making of thing. And it's just Lee in the bear trap mask.
That's it?
Pretty much.
Oh my God, it's hilarious.
Like, it's like a voiceover being like, you have to, this time to...
Whoa.
So they just did the bear trap.
Iconic.
It's so good, but if you were like, what scene would they choose? I would obviously choose the end.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
But they didn't.
Or the leg saw.
Right. So they did the jaw trap, and Lee was the star of the short. And so when they started shopping it around, I guess it was always as James Wan as the director, Lee as an actor kind of combo deal.
Make your own work.
Yes. I like it. But that's what so I guess when she went to Los Angeles, it was interesting because in that like making of Saw behind the scenes thing that I watched, they said that they kind of ended up going with these, because the way he said on the Boo Crew, it sounded like that was their last hope, was like the Los Angeles producers. But the way that the Los Angeles producers saw it as like they were getting them because they were willing to have James Wan and Lee as the tag team. Like other places might have wanted like not to have Lee and not to have James Wan, have like a more experienced director.
Yeah. Interesting.
So that's cool. They let them do what they wanted.
Good for them.
They were super successful with the short. And so the producers are Evolution Entertainment.
Okay.
They were immediately attached. And then they also formed the like horror genre production label that I think is
still around.
Yeah, of like other things.
Yeah, Twisted Pictures I think is still a thing. Maybe it's not anymore.
I don't know. You just the logo is so good.
The logo is good.
Or the animation. Yeah,
it's good.
So it's now called Twisted Pictures. This is some hard or some interesting facts for like if you're trying to make a movie. The film is given a small budget. Are you looking it up?
I was just gonna see. Yeah, I think it's still the last thing they produced. Yeah, 2020.
Amazing.
Spiral.
Great. This is
because they are a producer on the new Saw.
That's so cool. Okay,
but you never know if that's just like a name thing or a real thing. I'm not sure, but it doesn't matter. Go ahead.
We think they still exist. But this original film had a very small budget. It was only $1.2 million, and they shot it in 18 days.
That's fast.
It's very fast. So I guess I feel like I can say this. This is public information. But my boyfriend is working on the Terrifier sequel.
Yes.
He's one of the producers. And
more importantly, Lauren has a boyfriend.
I have a boyfriend. I'm taken. But they are not using 18 days. It's going to be a longer shoot. So it's so crazy to me that they were able to film Saw that quickly.
Yeah.
And so they filmed it that fast. It was screened on January 19th, 2004, before being released in North America in October.
And became a worldwide sensation.
Exactly.
For slumber parties everywhere.
It did very well at the box office. It grossed more than $100 million worldwide.
It's great.
Great. I mean, if that's
a 99% bump.
And that's their first movie that they ever made. It's insane. It was one of the most profitable movies since Scream. Crazy. And, this is actually, I don't know if this is interesting.
Yes, it.
Okay, so their inspiration for this movie came from the Blair Witch Project, and then Darren Aronofsky's, I should know how to say that. It's like a big deal, but Pi, his movie Pi. And so with their budget restrictions, which we always say that creativity comes from limitations.
That's right.
The two thought the cheapest script that they could have, or that they would be able to shoot, is 2 actors in a room.
Yeah.
And so that's where they started.
But you know what's so surprising to me, because I rewatched this week, and I haven't seen it in years, by the way. And I thought I remembered that most of the movie was just in that room, but there's actually a lot of other stuff too.
Yeah.
Like this, because I was like writing notes, and I was like, I wonder if this is also sort of the beginning of the like 2 people in one room movie trend where it's like they never leave one location. Right. But that's actually not true. There's multiple locations.
Yeah. So we'll get more to that later too, because this is another thing that I devil's advocated Steve about. I was like, they shot Saw in 18 days. And he was like, well, most of it's in one room. And I was like, no, it's not. But it actually is all one warehouse.
They just set differently?
They set differently.
I can sense that from... Yeah, I can
still,
except for like the house
and like the police station.
Yeah,
there were several things that I was
They did a good job.
They did a great job. So that we all said. So the character of Jigsaw actually came much later in the writing process, which I thought was cool. When Lee...
This is all news to me, by the way.
Yes. So they came up with the 2 men in one room thing. And then when Lee was working a job that he wasn't happy with, he kept getting migraines. And so when he was like convinced he had a brain tumor or something serious going on, so he went to the doctor. And while he was waiting to get his MRI or to like get the results back or something, he thought about, what would you do if you were given the news that you had a tumor and you only had this long to live? And so that's where he got the idea for Jigsaw, having,
Thankfully,
a death sentence.
He was fine.
Yeah, thankfully he was fine. But that's where he sort of got the idea that someone might be drawn to.
Yeah.
Or not drawn, but someone might want to
get people to fight for their lives, to appreciate their lives.
Exactly. When you're running out of time.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's so crazy.
Yeah.
It's like that concept is such an intense... For, like, what the Saw movies end up becoming, I feel like that being the core is, like, so intellectual or, like, emotional.
And I think that's what... I mean, we'll get to this later, but that's what makes the movie so unique, but that's what also makes it, I think, more than the label of torture porn. Yes. It makes it more interesting than that label, which I don't think we said yet. But that sort of started... Saw is sort of noted for starting this torture porn trend. Where a bunch of movies, like Hostel, movies like that would have come out, where the whole point of the movie is to go see people rip each other apart in the grossest way possible. Can you make an audience member sick? Can you make people squirm? Like, how gross can we get? Which is, fine.
Yeah.
but I think the original Saw is actually more than that.
Yeah, and I was going to say, when I went back and watched it, I was actually shocked that it's very concentrated moments.
Yes, the gore moments are actually not as bad as I remember.
No.
And they're certainly not as bad as Saw 2.
No, definitely not. Definitely not.
Yeah, they've definitely upped the game.
Yeah, who knows as we keep going.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly what we were just saying. So, casting stuff. So, on that Boo Crew podcast, Lee said that basically the producers, I think, were a management company.
Yeah.
That worked or, you know, were managers of the actors in the movie.
Yeah, they just hired all their own actors.
They hired all their own actors.
Which is great for everyone.
It was great for everyone. But Carrie Ells, who is the star, and also the star of The Princess Bride, my favorite movie, I sort of think of this as his, like, coming back to the scene. I don't know if that's true.
But for Lauren, it is.
But for me, it went Princess Bride, or maybe Robin Hood in Tights, Men in Tights.
Nothing.
I can't remember. And then Nothing, Saw. Nothing, Stranger Things. I don't know if that's actually how it goes.
Yeah.
But he was sent the short film, The Bear Trap, on DVD and immediately became interested. He said he sat down, read it in one sitting, was struck, the script, sorry. He also got the script, read the script in one sitting, was struck by its uniqueness. And he said he wrote back to the email with the script and the short and just wrote, wow, exclamation point.
Wow!
Which I'm like, and they took that to mean, like, you're in?
Oh, my God.
I can't imagine. I'd be like, is that a good wow or a bad wow?
Yeah.
Or like a wow, why did you send this to me? Anyway, he loved it. I thought it was interesting that because there was so little rehearsal time and so little...
Are you about to say what I'm thinking?
Shooting time? Well, I was going to say, I thought it was crazy because he says he met with a doctor at UCLA to prepare for his role. And I'm like, did you just choose to do this?
That seems shocking to me because what I was going to say is with so little prep, his accent is so terrible.
It's quite bad. There's a lot happening.
That is, I will say, the strongest thing I noticed on the rewatch that I didn't really remember is how poor his American accent is.
And what about him, like, with all that, like, white makeup on and being like...
Yeah, oh my God. Yes, it's like, I did not remember, like, everything felt so real and horrifying when I was young. And then I was like, yeah, you were, like, literally wearing, like, this pale makeup and being like... God damn it! God damn it! And I was like, what is this accent? It's like,
what are you saying?
What is this?
Very confusing.
It's confusing, but it's fun.
He did some homework.
Okay.
Whether that was helpful or not, TBD.
Yeah.
Shawnee Smith, who is the Bear Trap girl, who later becomes a big deal.
I think she's great.
She is great. She's crazy.
When she's being, like, questioned by the police, she's so good in that scene. Yeah.
She's really good. And I think she's really good in Saw too.
Yeah.
And I assume in many to follow. But she is actually not a horror fan and initially refused the role. Yeah. But then saw the short and agreed to do it.
Wow.
I know. I also thought, I mean, the fact that, so Tobin Bell is the name of the guy who plays Jigsaw.
Oh, right.
And I just respect him so much for doing Saw. Can you imagine if you signed on for that first movie and you were like, so I'm just laying on the ground.
Yeah. For a really long time.
And then he, like, thank God he's good and he gets to do other things. But, like, what a weird contract to sign up for.
That's so true. And he's so perfect for it.
He's so perfect.
Everything about his face is, like, exactly.
Creepy.
Really
but he said basically that he did the movie for that end moment alone, which I get.
It was probably a body double anyway.
Yeah,
I'm assuming. No, it was just him.
We'll get to that later.
He didn't have money for a body double.
He laid on the ground every single day of that shoot that he was in the bathroom scene.
You think, well, 1.2 million can get you a body double.
Well, I'm actually really mad that I didn't go back and watch because, like, he's got to be breathing.
I didn't notice.
I didn't notice either, but I'm like, I got to go back and watch because, like, first off, the actor has to be breathing. Secondly, like, shouldn't Jigsaw be breathing, so maybe it's fine?
I don't know.
It's crazy.
They also can't reach him for most of the movie, so it's not like they can't like shake him or something like that. It's not like because they're
screaming.
Yeah.
Don't you think you'd be like, hello?
Have you woken up yet?
Are you alive?
No. I don't know.
So I don't know, Carrie Ellis is a big deal too, but Danny Glover is an incredible actor that he did this. But I found out that he completed his scenes in 2 days.
No.
Yeah.
That is fast.
Yeah.
That is utilizing a more famous
talent.
Actor. Yes, that is utilizing your talent. That's how you do it, people.
Yeah.
Because I've seen it in movies recently where you are not utilizing talent.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I've seen some movies lately where they'll pull in some, like, horror vets, and they'll give them, like, 2 or 3 scenes, and I know they only have them for a day or something, and just not using them to the best of their ability. It just bums me out. Just like,
because that's crazy. Because if you were like, I don't know, I would say that, like, Danny Glover's part is a huge part of the Saw movies.
Absolutely.
I don't know if it's that many minutes.
I don't know.
I hope did anyone hear my stomach on this podcast?
We had Chinese food. Leave us alone.
My stomach is like, ah! Anyway, due to the tight shooting schedule, as we were discussing. So I was watching this interview with James Wan where he was like, it was really hard for me. It seems like he didn't sleep at all. Seemingly.
Oh, yeah.
Because he was like, I don't really
he
get
also
it.
edited it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which we get to, too.
Oh, okay. Lauren's got a whole
I have so many things. No, you're doing, I mean, you are welcome to chime in.
I swear I have things to say at the end.
You are welcome to chime in. But he, this is like a long quote from him, so I'm going to pick my favorite parts.
Okay.
I had high aspirations, but there's only so much you can do. I wanted to make it a very Hitchcockian style of filmmaking, but that style of filmmaking takes time to set up and so on. So the style ended up being more gritty and rough around the edges due to the lack of time and money that we had to shoot the movie with, and it ultimately became the aesthetic of the film, which I just think is so cool.
Yeah.
That, like, instead of sticking to what he wanted in order, you know, to, like, to fight against the shooting schedule, to whatever it is, to, like, demand he needed more time, he was like, okay, I'm given 18 days, and I might not be able to make this, like, big, well thought out, edited, complicated movie, but I'm gonna make it the way I have it, which probably is that, like, Blair Witch inspiration.
Yeah, but I think that is really smart, and like when filmmakers can do that and like and adapt to the situation, I feel like that's and be more creative with what you do have. It's like that's when the best movies come out.
Yes.
Versus like someone trying to make a $5 million movie on a $1 million. It's like
right.
Yeah,
he's very smart, obviously.
Yeah.
So, when they started editing, Juan found out that he didn't have enough shots to make the movie work. And so, yes, so he and the editor, whose name is Kevin Grutert, created shots to, like, mend together the story and mend together what they needed.
Like what?
So they apparently had a camera that was filming wide shots of a lot of the bathroom stuff. And so anytime you see it through, like, a security camera, that's what that is.
That's
like,
just filler?
Yeah.
Oh my god, that's hilarious.
It's filler because they, like, didn't see, like, him, like, throw the box at someone or whatever it is, which is so crazy.
I mean, thank God that they had that.
Yes.
Oh my god,
but also
crazy.
I thought it was, like, so smart to see the security camera.
Yeah,
to, like, see what Jigsaw's watching or, whoever's watching.
Big Brother.
What's his name? Shoot, what's his, like, little assistant? But he's not his assistant.
Oh, I don't remember his name. No.
It's, like, Zed? Anyway,
remember.
we might get to it later. Or might not. But they also, this blew my mind.
What?
So the shots of Carrie Ells that Lee's character took, the ones, like, him in the sunglasses and him, like, outside the building that are, like, supposed to be him, like, taking pictures for his wife or, like, for whoever, paying attention to him, are production stills that a photographer on set took pictures of Carrie and then they filled them into the movie. Those shots of just,
God.
like, his... I know! It's absolutely
insane.
This is
literally, like,
so janky.
Yeah, so janky. I love that.
So that's why they're, like, I mean, there are a lot of, like, crazy shots that are just, like, super fast. And that was, like, him filling in stuff that was missing.
That's so funny, because it feels like that's what it's supposed to be.
The style.
Yeah, that feels like the style. That's so hilarious.
So that's what, like, when it came out, people were like, whoa, this is
experimental.
New,
interesting style.
And he was like, no, we just had to fill in the gaps.
Oh, my God, that's so cool. Happy accident. That's awesome.
It's so cool. Anyway. Oh, the other thing that I thought was hilarious, so the ones that they really had to go back and do, they had Lee stand in. So, like, there's the scene where she's going through the intestines looking for the bear trap key are Lee's hands.
No.
Yeah, he was like, if you go back and look, those are very masculine hands.
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
And then there's one scene where it's like a guy comes in with a gun and you just see, like, half of his face, but it's clearly Lee if you go back.
Oh my God, that's so funny.
But I'm like, they couldn't even find a random actor?
Apparently not.
Like, we could find random actors.
I know, that's
I'm like,
wild.
they didn't have a single friend that was a girl that could use her hands to do it's, like, crazy.
That's hilarious. Oh my God, I love that. Now I want to rewatch it again.
Right? I'll show you we can go back and watch the intestine scene.
Oh my God.
Because it's so, like, once you see it, you're like,
you
what?
can't unsee it.
Yeah. But as I said before, all these scenes were filmed in one warehouse. The bathroom was the only set built completely from scratch. It was some sort of, like, space that people rent out for movies, because they were talking about, like, if you pay attention, certain scenes, like, you probably would notice from other things, like the police station or whatever it is.
Yeah.
The jaw trap scene was shot in a room that they didn't alter at all, which, again, like, looking back, you'll see this, that it's, like, literally just her in a chair, a ton of lights, and then they had a circular dolly, so they could just take the camera, like, fully.
That's one of my favorite scenes.
It's so good.
Especially when it goes really fast. It's so unsettling.
It's amazing.
It's very cool.
So that was, like, barely a set. The wire scene with the guy crawling through the wires.
Yes.
Disgusting.
So gross.
Which, first off, I think I get to that eventually, too. I don't know if I do. But the wire scene was like, oh, yeah, I do. So the wires were made of rubber.
Thank God.
Like, nothing is real. And they were just made to look scarier because if you go back and watch, like, the camera's sped up. Like, it actually has, like, nothing to do with, like, blood or, like, technical effects of, like, pulling. Like, it's just rubber things.
That's right.
And they speed it up.
Whoa, that's a good point.
So it looks scary, but it's, like, actually nothing.
Yeah.
But so that scene, I think...
And a lot of green lighting.
A lot of green lighting. A lot of crazy dark lights. So you're like, what's happening?
Exactly.
But that scene was shot... So they, like, needed a place to film it. And they went downstairs, and it was, like, a crawl space in the basement. Danny Glover was, like, too tall to actually be able to fit down there. So he's, like, bending his knees in all the scenes.
Oh, my God.
And then the day that they went to film that scene, the director of photography hit his head on, like, a pipe or something, because it was a tiny little crawl space.
Oh, my God.
He hit his head, and so the gaffer filmed that scene. Which all of this is just, like...
This is outrageous.
It's outrageous.
It's sort of like everything goes wrong, and then you still get something amazing.
Yes.
It's like... Thank God all those things went wrong, or else it probably would have been a less exciting movie.
And it also feels like somehow it was like, because it was 18 days, it was just like they were just like throwing everything at the...
Let's just get enough to make something.
Right.
Yeah.
And the concept was like strong enough to carry them through.
Yeah.
So the bathroom scene that we were talking about a bunch, that we thought was maybe the whole movie, was actually shot chronologically, which I always think is so good.
It's very helpful.
I mean, there's a lot of other things that obviously get inserted along the way.
Yeah.
But it was 6.5 of the 18 days that they were shooting were in that bathroom. So that is like a pretty long time.
That's a long time to be in a bathroom.
And because it wasn't really like a, functioning film set in that way, they couldn't take out walls. Like, they were talking about, I never think about this ever, but when you're filming on on higher budgets, probably you would not have a wall so that you could get a better shot.
Totally.
It wouldn't be like a room, but they couldn't do that. So they were like, we were just trapped in this small space.
Oh my God.
And a lot of it, he said, I was trying to get this interesting shot, and then it was like, there's no time. So it's just like, Carrie, Lee, Carrie, Lee, Carrie. And I was like, you don't even notice.
That's hilarious.
But they were just trapped.
That reminds me, Laura and I did a theater thing once in a basement, and towards the end of Tech Week, we just realized, we looked around the room, we're like, why is everyone so depressed? I was like, oh, right, because we've all been, huddled together in this dark, sad basement doing a horror thing for, a week straight.
With no light.
Somebody go outside.
No fresh air.
They could get to you.
I'm sure it got to them.
Yeah.
And then, as I said, the actor Tobin was lying on the floor every single day.
That's incredible to know.
Which is so crazy. And I thought it was so funny. In the interview, he was talking about his makeup, because they were like, whoever was interviewing him was like, your makeup's incredible. And he was like, yeah, it took an hour and a half the first day, then it took 40 minutes the second day, and now it takes about 5 minutes. And I thought it was so funny. I was like, are people just getting, obviously they know what they want at that point, but also I was just imagining some girl
just being like, I don't care.
We're running out of time. Here it is.
Just get out there.
Here's just some ketchup on your head.
Some ketchup.
So, as I said, Tobin was laying on the floor in the blood, but also inside they're throwing things back and forth. So he was getting hit with things.
It's very rude.
It's so crazy. And then I was trying to think, I was like, what are they throwing? And I'm like, oh yeah, there's the wallet with the picture.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things.
The key.
The
recorder.
Yeah.
Stuff.
Which also, again, watching that on the end is he's really gonna get that recorder with his shirt and part of the bathtub drain. Isn't that what he ends up doing? He gets the recorder with his t-shirt. I was like, I don't think
I thought that was smart. That's what I would have
like,
done.
that's exactly what I would do.
That's what I would have done.
I don't know actually what I would have done.
And then I got so upset when the guy cuts his foot off because I was like, why didn't you just use your shirt? He just freaks out and cuts his leg off. It's like, you're still wearing a shirt. You could have used that shirt.
Yeah, what?
I don't know. Anyways.
That's crazy.
Just noticing.
I don't know if there's anything else. Oh, these are just, like, funny things from the set. So, Carrie, I guess, wanted script edits every day. He would, like, literally ask for revisions or make revisions. So, to, like, mess with him one day, they gave him, like, fake lines for a scene that made no sense. And he started wigging out.
Oh,
and then
my
apparently
God.
It was all made up.
Oh, that's funny.
It was for, like, I think it was, like, the interrogation scene. He was like, my character wouldn't do this. None of this is what, none of this is
I
right.
would say this.
They were like, no, it's a joke.
Oh, my God. That's funny.
So silly. Anyway, I think that's all my behind-the-scenes things.
Very good. That was very good.
I had a good time looking it up.
I love that. So now I think we're going to talk about sort of what this film has inspired, what it has left behind, the cultural significance of the movie when it came out, some things like that. But I think first let's talk about the things that make Saw so different, I will say, from like the torture porn things that came after it and things before it. So first of all, as you already talked about, having Jigsaw, who has cancer and is sort of doing his own like fucked up morality tale or something, where you have a character that, first of all, is like a very old villain. I don't know how old he's supposed to be, but he's like very much older man who's like somehow sympathetic because he's dying.
Right.
And it's a killer, or it's a villain who doesn't actually kill anyone. He just gets people to kill themselves or each other, right? Because he wants them to appreciate their lives, to fight for their life, whatever. And so I guess I once started a question for you. Would you consider Jigsaw a murderer?
Yes, 100%.
100%. Okay. I thought there'd be some debate.
Well, so what I was going to say while you were talking about that is I was like, what the crazy thing about Saw, and I'm sure we're going to find that, but just talking about the first movie is like there is such a range of how hard your task is.
Oh yeah, totally.
Where I was like, yes, like the main two guys, like yes, their ask is hard, but they have so much time. They have a lot of time. Where like a Bear Trap Girl's got 60 seconds to decide if she wants to cut open this guy.
And that's exactly
who's
like
alive.
In the second movie. It's much more like if you break the rule or if you don't know that you have shorter amounts of time, everything's like faster. It is kind of a long time. He really allowed them some time to get out of there.
I mean, that poor guy that gets stuck in the thing with the drills.
Oh, yeah. Oh my
God.
like,
what did he do? He doesn't have any choice to make.
I know.
He can't appreciate his life.
There. Yeah.
It's like based on whether they're going to save him or,
it is intense.
Go get Jigsaw. I'm like...
and that is... So the other... So Jigsaw, throughout the movie, we find out that the police are already hunting him as a serial killer that has killed multiple people by getting them to murder themselves through these like horrible traps or whatever it is. And that's the other fun thing about Saw is the game aspect of it that I think is different than a lot of horror movies. Typically, particularly in the sequels, but also in this one, the players are connected to each other. Yeah. And they may or may not know that. Right. So in this one, we have one character that knows they're connected but isn't saying anything, and the other character that doesn't know that at all. So it also has things like strategy of like survival and things that people have to pick up really, really fast to like survive Jigsaw's game. Right. Which is cool, and I can't really think of movies that have done things like that so specifically.
No, it also like weirdly, I don't know that I necessarily feel so sympathetically for Jigsaw, but there is something, I mean, it's sort of like, I guess how I feel about Hannibal, where it's like, there's something interesting about like the villain being the smart one. Right. Where it's like you just watch the like main characters and you're like, oh, you're so dumb. Which I guess is true of like slasher movies too. A lot of the times it feels like the victims, you're like, don't do that. Like,
but not really, because you think about like, or like on that note, like Michael Myers, Jason, like these aren't like people with master plans. You know what I mean? You're right. Like you're excited that there's someone with a master plan that has a plan. Like, it's like exciting that there is things that I don't know what's gonna happen, and he's got all these cameras and all these things set up, and like I don't know where it's going.
Right.
Like, the game is not just run from the killer.
Right.
That's not the game. The game is like so much more complicated.
And he has that like calm.
Yeah, he's so calm.
Because he, like, you know, even if he dies, probably he's fine. Because he knows he has to eventually.
Yeah. He's, like, accepted his own death, and so, like, he can do this.
Yeah. It's creepy.
It's, like, crazy.
Anyway, that wasn't really related to what you were talking about. But.
No, it is. It's things that make it unique. So, another thing that I was just thinking about and then found some evidence to what I was thinking about, but escape rooms, right?
Oh, yeah.
So, escape rooms are huge now. There was a movie last year that was only so. But they're all over the world. They're not even just in America. They're literally everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
And I was looking them up, and apparently the first modern day escape room as we know it came out. It was like either in Ohio or somewhere like that in 2003. So very, very close to this, which I think is interesting that like both of these things like came sort of at the same time.
Yeah.
And now people are like obsessed with them.
Did you ever do the online version?
Of an escape room?
Yeah. It was like, I'm sure there are people out there. Please comment on this video if you did it. But
does anyone know what Lauren's talking about?
Yeah, but it was like help, you know, find your way out of the bathroom. And it was basically Saw.
Oh.
I mean, it was no violence, but it was like you had to like click on a key. Then you had to use like the microscope to find this thing.
I did not play that.
I'll show you after this.
That would have been a really good promotional tool for Saw if they had done that. But I'm sure there are Saw video games.
Yeah, there probably are.
I actually have no idea.
But
not really a gamer.
I think they were called Escape the Room.
Escape the Room.
Now I maybe
turn into escape rooms.
Yeah.
But that is kind of cool. And also like it also makes me think about the influence on like haunts and how we have these like big extreme haunts now. They're like basically going into like feel what it's like to be tortured.
Right.
You know? It's like all these things sort of go hand in hand, which is interesting. So I'm not going to talk about a bunch of different torture porn movies, but I do think it's worth mentioning that this sort of trend in films that was started by Saw is very like post 9/11 America, which is interesting. There is an entire book on this, which is in my Amazon cart right now, that I think is just called Post 9/11 Horror Cinema or something like that. But it's interesting because it sort of turned out movies like this and like Cloverfield and some more with very like bleak endings. Like, yes, extremely violent and like really push the boundaries of violence on screen, sure, but also like the endings are always really bleak. Like in this one, he doesn't make it out. And you kind of expect him to because you're like, the whole point of this thing is to escape.
And so he did everything.
And he did everything, so the hero should escape, if you will. And he doesn't because life's just not like that.
Yeah.
And I think there is definitely something about, even though like these are Australian filmmakers, at least I think
maybe why it got picked up in Los Angeles.
Maybe, but also like, you know, shot heard around the world of like, it's like in this like idealistic place there can be huge, massive tragedy. And no matter how great the American dream is, there can be, you know, terrorism. There can be so it's I think that is like a huge trend of these movies that come out in the early 2000s, which I can't wait to read more about.
Yeah.
And something else that we haven't touched on too much is the iconography that comes out of this movie. Mm-hmm. The puppet.
Yes, Billy.
Yes, Billy, the Jigsaw puppet or whatever. Lauren's father has one in their house, apparently. I'm very jealous.
He does.
And it's funny because that little guy, it's almost like not necessary.
Yeah.
But has become like so important to the movies.
It also like weirdly feels like it doesn't fit almost.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I remember the first time I saw it, I was like, what?
It's sort of like, here's like an extra creepy thing.
Yeah. But it's so good.
Yeah, but it's so good and it is so scary looking that it's just like become a part of it and like I accept it. But when I was rewatching it, I was like, if the puppet wasn't in it, it wouldn't really change anything.
No.
Which is just good to know. And then also the pig mask.
The pig mask is scary.
Yeah, which is very scary and comes up in multiple of the Saw movies, which is just gross.
And scary.
and scary.
Is there a pig mask in American Horror Story?
I'm sure. There's gotta be one.
Anyway.
I'm sure there is one. Have you heard Macaulay Culkin is going to be in the new American Horror Story series? I am just elated. I haven't watched it so long, and I swear to God,
and she's coming back.
I will come back, baby, for Macaulay Culkin. So I'm
Do we
thrilled.
know the theme yet?
No.
Okay.
I'm very curious.
Yeah, me too. Okay,
and the last kind of section I have on here is just the use of technology in this movie.
Yeah.
There's a lot.
There's a lot.
And I'm sure there were more. I'm sure there are movies that came out before this that also have used kind of but it is just an interesting thing about like even coming into the early 2000s where like sort of everyone had a cell phone, things like that. And so you have the cell phone moment, you have this sort of like live streaming concept of like watching the victims, the tape recorders. We even have like technology used as like a tool in the movie, like when he's doing the camera flashes and he like knows there's something in the apartment. He's using like the flash.
That is so scary.
Yeah, it's like used to build tension. I'll say particularly like the tape recorders. The tapes are just like so terrifying. And it's I love
my stomach. Can you hear it?
I can hear it. And it's interesting to have a villain that you only know through technology.
Yeah.
It's like they don't ever really see him until the very end. Or, you know, they do, but they don't know.
Yeah, they're seeing him, they don't know.
Yeah, which is cool.
I do think the biggest takeaway for me was, like, how little gore there was on rewatch.
And how much, like, that was used. I don't know about the marketing because I was so young, but definitely in, like, the legend of this movie about torture porn, about all the torture. And it's just like, yes, it's there, but it's small and not graphic.
Right.
Yeah, and I guess, I mean, with later sequels, it became more and more graphic because obviously with every sequel you have to push what you can do and what you can get away with or whatever. But it's not so prevalent in this one, which is interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. One more thing I'll mention, and I don't even know how this fits in the conversation necessarily, but the fact that Jigsaw is a serial killer, and I do think, particularly in America, I don't know about other countries, there's like a huge fascination with serial killers. Particularly in the last few years, there's been a huge resurgence of like true crime. People are obsessed with true crime podcasts, and Netflix makes a new true crime thing every week, and it's a lot going on with the true crime. And so I'm curious, do you remember when that movie Zodiac came out? Or like 7?
What year? Well, so 7 was before this, I think, because James Wan definitely talked about it.
Is it around the same time?
Hold on.
Zodiac was 2007, so it's a little bit further off. 7 was 1995.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. People said like you are inspired by 7, and he was like, yeah.
Sure. But I do think it's interesting to take a horror movie and put a serial killer in a more crime methodical way versus like killers like Michael Myers or Jason that have more supernatural aspects to them, or particularly like Freddy Krueger, having like a real person that is just making the choice to do these things.
Right.
Versus like someone with like who's like evil.
Right.
It's like this is a dude that made like a choice. Which is interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It goes to the 9/11 real horror.
Yeah, real life horror. Which I think it makes sense. I think and I'm interested in studying this more. If you have any books or anything you would recommend to learn more about this. But I do have like some understanding that horror movies come out, they reflect the time that they're in. They reflect what people are scared of in that time.
Totally.
And I think Saw is a good example of that. I kind of want to like go back and like kind of get, at least from like an American perspective, like the trends over time. I want to like know more about that. Like it's something I wish I could do a podcast episode on, but I feel like I don't know enough.
Yeah.
But hopefully one day I'll know enough to tell you about it.
Yes.
But yeah, I guess that's it.
I know. Do we have anything to recommend? I'm trying to think.
Saw.
I
have one. I already recommended it to Lauren, but
my
Patreon peeps and I last night watched Freaks, which is from 2018. It's on Netflix. It just came to Netflix not too long ago, a couple days ago. And I loved it. I thought it was amazing. It was everything Brightburn should have been. And it's a little girl too. You're gonna love it. You're gonna love it. It's such a well done movie. But it's like a horror superhero kind of thing going on.
I love that.
It's very cool. It's very cool. That's mine.
And I'm just here to recommend Love is Blind. I'm just kidding.
Please, no, you can have to be horror. I haven't watched. Kidding. I'm gonna watch the first episode tonight.
Love is Blind on Netflix is true trash, and I can't stop watching it.
Do you watch?
I know everyone's probably caught up, but
do you watch 90 Day Fiancé?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't religiously watch it.
I don't either. I only watch it when I'm at my parents' house and I'll binge like a ton of episodes.
Yeah, well, so that's what I've been going to Staten Island with Steve, my boyfriend. This is his episode, apparently. But we watch TLC a lot when I'm there.
Hell yeah. I love it. Oh, the days of cable.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a lot.
That's great.
A lot of hoarders.
Oh, I love hoarders.
It's so good.
I'm about to declutter my apartment.
This
coming weekend. I'm a hoarder. This coming weekend, I literally have blocked off the weekend basically to just go through all my shit.
That's the best.
Because I have so much shit.
I can't wait. I need to do it too.
I'm excited.
Woo!
Yeah. Okay, anyways, that's it. Next week, we're going to be talking about Saw 2. So get ready for that.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. And have some sweet, sweet nightmares.
Bye.